Yo. Today I want to talk about a bit more serious of a topic. It's something that I think a lot of people have trouble with, particularly in the winter months. And it's something that even I struggle with sometimes, despite having been at this energy work for over a decade. So we're going to talk about despair and how Reiki can be used to treat even the most depressing of mental states. So, despair in Webster's dictionary is described as the loss of hope. I think that for most of us, it goes beyond that into a perceptual and real loss of energy. Those in despair are plagued by negative thoughts. Those thoughts themselves sort of gaining a life of their own in that they're ongoing, and even moments of respite or pleasure can be difficult to enjoy because of the doom-saying and negative take on the world around us. And with some of the world events that are going on, it's hard to blame people for having that mental state. So I would say from my practice, I believe that despair is the lowest emotional state, the lowest vibrational emotional state that you can have. And one of the great things about despair is that if you're feeling despair, you're not dead. And so that's a great place to start. Now, my wife, when I first introduced her to Reiki, she would ask a few times, what's the difference between Reiki and just positive thinking? Now, obviously, there's the hands-on treatment, which I've covered in the videos, and that's a main component of it. But what is the difference between just positive thinking and Reiki? Well, first of all, I think a great place to start with that is despair itself. Despair is negative thinking. That's a huge part of it. And if all you're doing, if all I'm doing, if all we're doing is thinking negatively about our situation, what that does from an energetic point of view is as our energy flows through us and creates the world around us, through our thoughts and through our feelings about things, we create and manifest the world around us. Then if you're constantly thinking negative things, if you're constantly criticizing, overanalyzing, being cynical, although being critical and cynical can be a good thing in small amounts, just constantly talking down about things, then, and I'm sure you notice this with constantly miserable people, the world just keeps lining up more and more negative experiences for them to bring in. And I think over large populations, if large populations are only thinking about negative things and only thinking about things they don't want, then entire populations can manifest those very things that they're focused on, because the universe doesn't understand don't. It just understands what you're focusing on in terms of bringing what we summon either singularly or collectively into our experience. So when it comes to despair, I would actually argue against throwing thoughts at it. Even if you can somehow take one of the things you're feeling despair about and throw a more positive thought at it, chances are the despair train that you have going through your mind is pretty strong, and it's going to shrug off just a little bit of a fancy feather thought of positivity. And indeed, that can drive you further in despair, because you say, well, I tried thinking positively about this thing, and look where that brought me, feeling even more despair and realizing just how screwed I am, or we are. So I wouldn't recommend trying to use positive thinking if you're in such a low vibration as despair. So what would I recommend? Anger. Anger is the step up. And if you are feeling depressed, if you are feeling worried, then anger is a step up. And maybe you're angry at the wrong person, or maybe you're angry at the wrong thing, or maybe you're over angry considering how much of an impact it's really having on you. Maybe it could be all those things. The anger may not be focused, but the point is that you're feeling better than despair. Now, Usui, the founder of Reiki, wrote in our Reiki motto, just for today, do not be worried or fall into despair, and do not be angry. Don't be quick to anger. Be grateful, work with integrity, be kind to others. And though I am saying if you are in despair, get angry, try not to act out of that immediate anger, because that's what a lot of people do, is they go quickly, they go slightly up the energetic spectrum from despair to anger, and they think, well, this is the new me, and now I'm angry about everything, and now I'm going to act out of anger, and therefore generate and bring more things to me to be angry about, because the universe is great about reflecting your emotions to you. So that's why I think Usui, in the very motto itself, knowing that this is how energy works as you summon it into your aura and summon it into yourself and your personal life and your communal life with everyone else, that anger is a place that we arrive at, and it brings us up out of despair. And from there, rather than staying there, which I think a lot of us can do, the idea is to think about it as an eruption, as a column with fire inside rising up. So you come from anger, increasing your frequency to blame, to overwhelmment, to frustration, to pessimism. And yeah, these all aren't great emotions, but they're a heck of a lot better than despair. And as you rise up the spectrum, what I've found in my practice is that eventually you get to a place of boredom, a place of emptiness. And the way this manifests for me is sometimes I'll, meditate myself out of that kind of low frequency, and I'll get to the place of boredom and I'll say, oh, well, I should write in my book, or I should play some video games, or I should watch a show on Netflix. But none of that ever satisfies when you've got that kind of boredom, that kind of emptiness on your mind. And that's good, because when you get to that state of screw it, forget it all, then you can be empty and allow the power of yin, remember, resonant being that I've covered in the What is Reiki videos, that more powerful aspect of the energy, remember action and being, that being can resonate within you. And when you just take a moment not to worry and not to blame and not to be angry and just let all the thoughts and let all the emotions pass through you, you'll notice your own energy. And when you take notice of it and your conscious mind touches it, the nature of it in that emptiness, it exemplifies it, and it helps it build. It helps the energy grow. And as that energy grows, then your intuition kicks in, now that you're getting your frequency a little higher. And from there, you can get little video clips in your mind of what you should do to increase your hobbies or increase your revenue. Or maybe you get just a little thought in your head that says, hey, maybe I should go to the gym tomorrow. Or maybe not. Maybe it's a drink of water. Or maybe you actually take a day off instead of filling your day off with a bunch of stuff that you've been meaning to do. It could be anything. The intuition could come in any way, in any form. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be in your mind. Intuition can come to you through the environment. It could be a jingle you hear in a commercial that inspires you to go do something. Or maybe you hear someone on the subway talking about a conversation that makes you think of a book you've been meaning to read. And then that all leads you to manifesting the reality you're intending for yourself and growing. So I don't think that Reiki, particularly in treating these severe conditions like despair, is just positive thinking, because ultimately it's a choice. It's a choice to raise your frequency. And yeah, there's different ways to do it, and I cover a lot of them in these videos, but deep down, it's the person who needs to choose to increase their vibrational state. And that's why I wanted to make a video about this today, is because I think that a lot of people have been looking to others, trying to make them feel good or trying to have them be a certain way so that we, or so that I can feel good, right? I'll feel good. I'll raise my vibrational state as soon as that person does that, as soon as that group does that, as soon as that group complies with what I want them to do. And if you spend your days waiting for everything and everyone to be just right before you can work on your energy, then you're gonna be waiting till the end. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Keep your spirits up out there, and thanks for watching, and by all means, like and subscribe.